The floodwaters had long receded, but their memories still lived in the soil. Humanity had spread once more across the earth, carrying the same breath of life, the same shared language, the same inherited ambition. Families grew into clans, clans into peoples, and with unity came strength. They settled on a wide plain, hishy and open, a place where nothing blocked the horizon. There, they paused their wandering. There, they decided to build, not homes for a season, but something lasting, something that would rise above the earth itself. They spoke with one voice and one purpose. Every word was understood, every command was clear. Hands moved in perfect coordination. Brick by brick, the foundations were laid, strong and deliberate. But it was not survival that drove them. It was legacy. They feared being scattered, feared becoming small, feared being forgotten. And so they looked upward, not in humility, but in defiance. They dreamed of a tower that would pierce the heavens, a structure so tall it would declare their greatness to the world, a monument not to the Creator who had spared them, but to themselves. "Let us make a name," they said. These words carried more than ambition. They carried rebellion shaped as unity. Humanity no longer sought to fill the earth as it had been instructed. Instead, it sought to rise above it, to secure its future through power and permanence, not trust. The tower climbed higher each day. From a distance, it looked impressive, ordered, strong, a symbol of cooperation. But beneath the harmony of labor stirred a deeper problem. Unity without humility, strength without reverence, purpose turned inward. They built not to serve, but to be seen. And as the tower rose, so did the danger. For when humanity gathers all its power around pride, it forgets its limits. It forgets who gave it breath. It forgets that being united in the wrong direction can be just as destructive as being divided. The city grew loud with confidence. The tower casts a long shadow, and unseen by those stacking bricks toward the sky, a decision was forming above them. Not to destroy, but to interrupt. Because if humanity continued on this path, nothing it imagined would remain out of reach, and the cost would be greater than scattering. The moment of division was approaching. The work did not slow. Hands passed bricks upward in an endless rhythm. Voices filled the air with confidence. Laughter echoed between rising walls. The tower climbed higher, and with every level, the people believed more deeply in their own greatness. They spoke of security. They spoke of legacy. They spoke of reaching the heavens. But they did not speak of humility. From above, the scene looked different. Humanity, once instructed to spread across the earth, now gathered in one place. Their unity was strong, but it was no longer aligned. What had begun as cooperation had hardened into defiance. Power was being centralized. Pride was being fortified, and the danger was not the tower itself. It was the heart behind it. A single language meant unchecked momentum. One thought could become a movement. One ambition could reshape the world without restraint. If this path continued, nothing imagined would remain beyond their reach. Not because they were wise, but because they were united without reverence. So the interruption came, not as fire, not as flood, not as destruction, but as confusion. Words faltered mid-sentence. Instructions lost their meaning. Familiar sounds became foreign. The same voice that once coordinated labor now sparked frustration. Faces tightened with confusion as workers realized they no longer understood the words spoken beside them. Shouts rose. Questions followed. Order collapsed. A command was given, but it no longer carried clarity. A warning was spoken, but it sounded like noise. What once united them now separated them. Language, the tool of their strength, became the source of their unraveling. Fear replaced confidence. The tower stood unfinished, its height mocking the ambition that had driven it upward. The bricks remained, but the unity was gone. Groups formed instinctively, drawn together not by shared purpose, but by shared understanding. And then they began to move. Families pulled away, clans separated, peoples drifted in different directions, each carrying fragments of the same origin. Now fractured by speech, they could no longer share. The city emptied. The tower was abandoned. Humanity scattered across the earth, not by flood, but by misunderstanding. The interruption had achieved what force could not. It broke the prideful unity and redirected the course of humanity. The world grew quieter around the unfinished tower, but the echoes of confusion would travel far, and the division that began there would shape every nation that followed. The plain was left behind. Wind moved through empty streets. The tower stood silent, its shadow stretching over a city that no longer had a voice. What was meant to rise as a symbol of human greatness became a reminder of human limits. Humanity moved outward. Languages carried people in different directions. Culture formed. Borders emerged. Nations were born not from agreement, but from separation. The earth was filled, just as it had once been commanded, but now through scattering rather than choice. The division was not an act of cruelty. It was restraint. Humanity had been interrupted before its pride could harden into something irreversible. The confusion of language slowed the march towards self-exaltation. It forced dependence. It reminded humanity that progress without humility leads to collapse. And yet, within the scattering, purpose remained. Each nation carried pieces of the same story. Each people group bore the same breath of life. Though divided by speech and distance, humanity was still one family at its core, spread across the earth, rather than stacked toward the heavens. True greatness is not found in reaching the sky, but in walking rightly on the earth. Security is not built by walls of brick, but by trust beyond oneself. Unity, when stripped of humility, becomes a danger rather than a gift. The division of languages shaped the world, but it did not end the story. For even in separation, a future reunion was already being prepared. A day when understanding would be restored, not through towers or ambition, but through humility and grace. The scattering was not the final word. It was a turning point. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel to continue exploring these biblical narratives, and leave a comment sharing which biblical story you would like to hear next. The tower was left unfinished, but the story of humanity continues.